Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with my top 5 favorite plants for the month of August, right here from my Zone 7 Central North Carolina garden. Now my top pick for this month absolutely has to be Amazel Basil. This basil has grown beyond my wildest expectations. So let me turn this camera around and give you a close-up. Okay, it's fair to say this basil is like a shrub. Look at it, it's so incredible. Totally disease-free, has not started to flower. It's just now actually starting to show signs of blooms, which I am still going to come through and just pluck off. But unlike most varieties of basil that are blooming all summer, and it's a huge chore to keep up with, I have not had to work hard at all to keep Amazel growing vegetatively so that it has the best flavor for cooking with. So you can see I've got Amazel on both sides flanking the entrance into the feed tank. And on the left side, there's 2 plants on each side. That side, they sort of laid down in a storm and I just let them grow horizontally. The right side, I tried to stake them up, which is why they're a little taller. I think either way is really fantastic. You could probably put them in a tomato cage to keep them more upright. The habit and the vigor of this plant is really what's so remarkable. And if I turn my camera this way, you see there's more right over there in that bed. So I've been telling everybody, like, if you want, to make pesto, or you're making, tomato sauce to can, come to me. I have all the basil in the world. That's not usually something that I can say because traditional Genovese basil does not perform this well. So here's the deal. I was super skeptical about these new varieties of basil when they first hit the market. Totally legitimate reason why plant breeders are messing around with basil. For one thing, the flowering habit, which is, I think, really a huge improvement. But also, these plants have much better resistance to downy mildew, which is a huge problem really for people all over, but especially for those of us in the Southeast. Now, downy mildew is different from powdery mildew. Basils can get both, but in my experience, these newer varieties that have been selected against the mildew strains are much hardier. They just have better vigor. I actually thought for a while that the flavor was less superior. I have to say I'm amending that. I think Amazel is actually a really delicious variety, particularly when you're chopping it up or you're adding it to sauce or just, top dressing like a pasta dish or something. Honestly, at this stage, I can't even tell the difference. Now, perhaps that's because I didn't even grow traditional Genovese basil at all this year. I just don't want to keep perpetuating the same disease problems. I have enough disease on this former tobacco field of a garden. I don't need to choose plants that are going to be even more susceptible to spreading pathogens, which is why I really leaned into new varieties, including this Amazel Basil, which is amazing in every way, shape, and form. Now let me show you 2 other new varieties that have not performed very well for me, so that you can tell I'm not being slanted just to this one variety. My opinion is actually formed based off of, anecdotal experience. Okay, admittedly, this is in a pot, and you can see the other plants are doing fine, and this basil is growing out, but look down here. Look at those diseased leaves, and it's basically looked like this all summer long. And sure, it may be a little bit crowded here, but I have higher expectations for plants. So this is one of the varieties from Rutgers, either Obsession or Devotion. I don't have a label in this pot, so I don't know which one it is. And you can see, like the Amazel, it's just now starting to put out flowers, which I'm going to pinch out. That is a day length trigger that's stimulating the plant to start to set seed. Now this basil tastes really good, and so I'm not saying don't grow it. I'm just saying be wary of the fact that it's not entirely disease resistant, at least not here in a hot, humid central North Carolina environment. And here in this container, we have the other variety from Rutgers. Again, it's either Obsession or Devotion. And this is done pretty well. It's just, again, starting to flower. This one does not have nearly as much sort of damaged foliage. It's a tasty variety, but you see, compared to the Amazel, it just doesn't have the same overall vigor. Now, this is in a pot, so it may not be entirely fair to compare the two, but without question, those Amazel planted in the ground are the best basil plants I've ever cultivated. So right here is my favorite dwarf basil, not to eat, but this is actually to kind of deter animals. And you can see it's in full flower. It's been blooming all summer. I don't grow this for the purpose of eating because personally, I think it tastes like burning hair. This is a variety called My Crete. You can see it's beautiful. It's mildew free. You know, cute little habit. I haven't done any pruning on it, and you can see the size that it is. And I do like that it flowers because I want to collect seeds so I can grow it again. Ordinarily, I would grow this just along edges and basically create like a whole planting along the edge to protect plants. This year, I didn't get around to sowing the seed, which is why I only have one plant. It's just super lame. Will not make that mistake again. So I hope you will be inspired by this video and put Amazel Basil on your must grow list for next year. This is a plant that is supplied through the Proven Winners line. I am not on the payroll for Proven Winners. I try to be super objective about the plants that I recommend, and I'm not in alliance with any specific plant brand. I'm just giving you this information, gardener to gardener. And I really think the plants kind of prove themselves. So a little background on Amazel, just in case you're curious. Dr. David Clark from University of Florida, Gainesville, actually bred this variety specifically to combat downy mildew. And it was actually his Hort 101 class that named it. So I think it's a really creative name. It's certainly a name you'll remember. And well, as far as new plant introductions go, this one deserves an A+. Well, be sure to tune in tomorrow for another one of my top 5 plants for the month of August, right here from my Zone 7 Central North Carolina foodscape. Thanks for watching, everybody.